Yeah, this is what we wanted.
I'll talk to you about a excellent excellent conversation I had with one of our distributors later.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure
It
that
was
was
it was great.
wonderful.
Yeah,
No.
it's not going to affect the comic industry. Sure. Com comic and gaming industry. Sure.
Oh, Jesus.
Toys and games aren't made anywhere in, China, whatever. Anyway, hi guys.
Greetings.
Oh
Greetings.
man. So um we are we are a little sad today this week. Um, a Batman has fallen. Um,
Technically, he's the first
and
one, correct?
no, well, I mean,
If you don't count Adam West,
if you don't, he's the first of the movie, the
Batman.
like actual movie.
Hmm.
Um, like black suit Batman. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, yeah, he's the first of those guys. Um, like blockbuster Batman
Yes.
to pass away. Um, it is crazy because we were talking about it and we were all kind of talking about it the other day. I was at the waterfront. Um, he was in Willow, he was in Top Gun, he was in Real Genius, Top Secret, Tombstone, um, The Saint, obviously Batman. Um, oh man, uh, The Island of Dr. Moreau, The Doors,
Hmm.
um,
Oh, I forgot
all
he
of
was.
these.
I forgot he was Jim Morrison in The Doors.
Oh, dude, I think that's the
Ah,
first movie I saw him in, to be honest.
I
Um,
remember him in Willow. I didn't know who he was, but I remember him. Willow is
okay,
one of the
okay,
first movies
it
I saw
was
as a kid.
one of those two movies was my first Val Kilmer movie, one of those two.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know which one for sure, but it was
Hmm.
definitely one of the two. Um, and I'm not 100% sure which one it was. Um, I want to say it was The Doors because I fell in love with that movie and I fell in love with their music because of that movie.
Yeah.
Um, and people don't realize he sang those parts. Like he re-recorded over the masters. Like he re-recorded the parts of Jim Morrison.
Nice.
Um, it's crazy. And
Mm.
and I remember reading articles from like Robbie Manzarek and some of the other original Doors members who were still alive at the time, and they were like, it was creepy because they were like, yeah, it's like Jim came alive again,
Hmm.
um, and it was so good. Um, but he was a hell of an actor. He was super versatile.
Hmm.
Um, Probably one of my top 10 favorite actors of all time just because of how versatile he was and he could do the drama, he could do comedy. He was great with comedy.
Yeah.
Um and in fact, I think his comedy stuff was more what I liked more than the drama stuff.
He,
Especially like Top Secret and Real Genius, like those
yeah,
those two
those
movies
were,
alone were
hmm
you
and
they
that
they were
I felt like that was probably more his personality were those comedic type geniuses
hmm?
where his more serious roles, he really did have to put on the whole different personality. Uh, if you ever watched that documentary he did,
Yeah.
I think it's on Prime.
Yeah, is this
Um,
called Val? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that one was it was depressing because I thought he was going to die that year when that came out. So. Well, because he didn't look
Yeah.
good. He didn't look good. He
No, he
didn't,
didn't. Yeah.
and so I guess a blessing that he survived. Well, how long ago was that? 3 years ago?
No, it was more than that. Like, because that came out
It
before the
was,
pandemic, or it
yeah,
was filmed before the pandemic,
yeah,
but
it
it
came
came out
out during the
after the
pandemic.
pan, or came out
So
toward the
about
end of the pandemic.
4 or 5 years, give or take.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, he got to live another 4 or 5 years. So, you know,
Yeah.
blessing
Because
on that
I
end.
want to say like they actually show his 60th birthday party in there.
Yeah, so
Um,
about 5 years then.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it was very good and like and I thought it was awesome that when they did Top Gun Maverick that Tom Cruise like insisted that he be in there,
yeah.
that he be part of it and that he insisted that they do that scene and the reason we called this episode it's like the scene from Top Gun Maverick is because like that scene was pretty much what ran through my mind when everybody was when the news came through that was the scene that played through my head
Hmm.
like like the the grave site with the big poster of him and Tom Cruise saluting him like I was
Yeah,
like yep
yeah,
that is so fitting for him um and what I also love though is like I love that his son is like his clone. Like he
yeah,
looks just like him. He sounds just like him too.
yeah.
Um, the only part that sucks about this is if they ever did do a season 2 of the Willow TV show, which was very good by the way, and people should have watched more of it because it was very
Hmm.
good. We will now never see Mad Mardigan, um, you know, ever ever again. So
Unless his son portrays him as
yeah,
Mad.
they would have to like age him up or something, but
It's easier to age somebody up than de-age them. I,
or like
I would think.
digitally. Yeah, I mean they could kind of do what they did with Carrie Fisher's daughter in Rise of Skywalker where she played her mom,
Hmm.
in like that training scene.
Yeah,
Like that was her and they just put her face digitally over
yeah,
her. I thought that was but I thought that was still so cool because like all the voice you hear that's supposed to be Mad Mardigan, that's his son talking.
yeah,
Um, so I it was still good, but and I loved him as he's my favorite just Batman. Like if you separate Batman and Bruce Wayne, he is my favorite just Batman because he was so uncomfortable in that suit that man, because it was still the Keaton suit. Like they never changed the size or anything.
yeah,
Like it was a little too small for him. So
yeah.
he was like uncomfortably tight in it.
Yeah.
So he was doing all of his stuff in it and it
It,
just wasn't right for
it
him.
was
So
definitely one of the more memorable of the Batman movies because it was just so different from the Michael Keaton movie.
mhm,
Especially having what it was him, Jim Carrey, Tommy Lee Jones, Nicole Kidman.
mhm.
I mean, that was star power across the board.
Yep.
So, I can't say the same for the other one, Batman and Robin, where like that one was lesser in many aspects.
Yeah.
Uh, but again, I was like I also would have liked to have seen the title of I'll Be Your Huckleberry because I just rewatched that not too long ago again. It seems like if I rewatch an old movie, someone who acted in that old movie tends to pass away, so maybe I have to stop watching movies
Mhm.
because his portrayal as Doc Holliday was masterpiece in and of
Yeah.
itself too.
Yeah. I
Uh,
haven't watched Tombstone in holy shit.
yeah, it's definitely
Probably
one of those ones. It's like it's
yeah.
very iconic. Um,
Yeah. I bet it's been
just
15 years since I've watched that movie.
yeah,
So
it's still as good as it
oh yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Like I might tonight when I'm done when we're done with this, I might put on Top Secret because that's my favorite Val Kilmer movie.
hmm,
And it's just so stupid and funny.
yeah,
Like there's an underwater bar fight. There's a shootout and they play tic-tac-toe in the window frame. Because it's like a nine framed pane and
yeah,
they actually play tic-tac-toe with like the like Tommy guns. Um there's like a scene where like a truck is like flying through a field. It slams on its brake and t taps a Pinto, and then it blows up because the Pintos used to blow up. Um, there's like the whole scene where they had to learn how to speak backwards so they could record the scene backwards. It's the backwards library scene. Um, it was awesome. Like that movie was so messed up and funny. Like like it was so campy and awkward. It was like Elvis becomes a spy, basically. Um, was kind of the vibe of the movie. Um, if you've never watched it, you should. Uh, it is it is some really awesome um and hilarious comedy. So hey, we got somebody in the chat. What's up, buddy?
There we go.
So um also next week for all of you starts our guerrilla campaigning of flyers and posters for the con this year. Um, so that means that Saturday or Sunday, we're gonna release the commercial, and we're gonna release the full art. So everybody that's been waiting to see the full art, and stuff. You're going to see that this year. It's going to be kicking out this weekend. I got the tracking, and it's hopefully going to be here on Saturday. There are 9 boxes of this shit coming to my house, um, which I'm just excited that it didn't get held up in customs, like a lot of the stuff he had printed in customs or Canada told me.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so yay, excitement. So very fun.
no.
So. Other than that, thanks everybody who came out to Pi. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Also thank you everybody who came out to the Matt Rosenberg signing. That was also a lot of fun. Matt and Tyler were great. In fact, I handed Matt a stack of books, my books, to get signed, and in the bottom of the pile was Tyler's new book. And Matt was just so we were just talking, and he wasn't paying attention, and he totally signed Tyler's book. And Tyler's like, wait, you didn't work on that book. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Here. And he like hands it to Tyler. And Tyler's like, yeah, whatever. And he signs it anyway.
Double signed.
So I have a Matt Rosenberg signed Tyler book. So it's great. Um,
It's just like any guy who got Stan Lee to sign their Batman book. Okay, it's no
right.
big deal.
I mean, those guys work on so many books together. It's crazy.
Mhm.
But I did pick up a set of the tour connecting variants, which was cool. I left them in the car. So they're still down there. They're in a box in my car. Uh, and mostly because I didn't want to forget your book that's signed to bring it to the
Yes.
store tomorrow. That's why they're all still in the car.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll
but it
need
was a lot
that
of fun.
for C2E2 next week.
Yeah, yeah. And then we have Aaron coming up on Friday down at the mill or at the waterfront for the Marvel Rivals signing. So if you have a Marvel Rivals, go down to that. That'll be from I believe 1 to 3, I believe.
Mhm.
I think that sounds right. Uh, and this coming the next day, Saturday, is the Mills anniversary sale. So there's all kinds of sales going on with that. The whole dollar room will be half off. Tons and tons of sales going on. It's going to be crazy. And they pave part of the roadway.
Yes.
So the ramp with that giant crater, that's covered. It's fixed. There's
Yeah.
still most of the problem going to the Mills right now is just the parking lot. There's just a couple in the parking lot, which those are easy to get around. Just drive around them.
Yeah, except the
Um,
back way. If you come in through the back way,
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
still haven't
Just
touched that
just
on.
come in off 28, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Um, but everything else should be good.
Yeah.
Uh, it'll be a lot of fun. Um, I might pop in the like in the evening, maybe we'll see. But after that, um, we have the warehouse sales kicking in uh Easter weekend, so the 19th. So it's the first Saturday that Saturday will be the first Saturday, and then they will be every Saturday to the end of the year from 11 to 6 every Saturday. Every Saturday.
Oh
I'm going to
my.
repeat every Saturday. If it's a holiday, if there's something else going on, doesn't matter. Todd's opening the building from 11 to 6, which means he's going to
Okay.
have to man
I was gonna
it.
say that'll be interesting, like if July 4th ends up being on a
It
Saturday.
is. It is.
Who the heck's gonna show up
Oh,
on
trust
July
me.
4th?
I checked. I checked this shit. Trust me.
Oh God. Wow. I mean, I'm
Um,
all for it, everybody likes the warehouse sale, but I think there is a degree of, dude, no one's gonna show up. Everybody's going to
right,
do fireworks and stuff. It's not a
right.
day for that. I mean,
Um,
maybe I'd be wrong on that,
but
but
also next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, the 13th, we have a show in Monroeville. It's a one-day show in the time space event space, I believe is what it's called. It's in the upper floor. Our buddies at Time Space Toys um, basically rented out another bit of space and they turned it into a mini convention space. So if we still need some vendors for that, so if you are, or I should say, there's still vendor space available. So if you're interested in that, check out our website. There's a link on there. You can go to timespacetoys.com, I believe, is their website. Um, and go for there. Um, and you can check that out as well. And I will be there with I believe 214 long boxes of dollar books.
there we go.
Yeah,
I unfortunately will not be there because, like I've said, I will be at C2E2. So
right.
anybody who listens to us who happens to be going to C2E2, come say hi. Come buy some minis from Awesome Minis because Joe's one of our buddies. He helps out our show a lot, speaks highly of us, and
Absolutely.
I will also have a bunch of flyers for our con that day as well that we will be handing out. So yeah, come say hi. Hopefully, I will have this all taken care of. It's time to bring out the Mohawk. I think if
Mohawk
if
season. It's Mohawk season.
yeah, somewhat. I mean, if the weather stabilizes, it is at 30 degrees one day, 70 degrees the next, and constantly raining, but
It's all good.
that's what
It's all
hats
good.
are for.
Right, exactly. Right. So, all right. Let's talk comics, and then we'll do a quick Daredevil episode recap, and then we'll get out of here. We'll let these guys get going.
Mhm.
So, all right. My first book is Ultimate Green Lantern #1. So, the first thing I will say about this book is uh it's definitely an Al Ewing book. You can definitely tell he wrote it. It it also felt a lot like um the Flash book, like it had a similar vibe to it. Um I'm not a super big fan of the art of this book. Um because it's got that borderline manga vibe still. This has a little more like Jinju Ito vibe on the art, in my opinion. Which is cool because it's a little darker art than the Batman style art in it. Um, so this starts out with Hal Jordan is walking down the street, a highway, and a cop pulls up behind him and he's freaking out. And the cop's like, "Hey, you okay?" And he's just freaking out and looking at him, staring at him. He's like, "Hey, what's in your pocket?" Um, and he's like, "Sir, I need you to answer me. What's in your pocket? Is it drugs? Is it a weapon? Sir, answer me. Are you carrying a weapon?" And he's like, "No, wait, wait." He's like, I said get down, like both hands get down, please. And he's like, please wait, my name's Hal Jordan. I'm from Evergreen. And he's like, sir, I'm not gonna ask again. Put both hands down. And he's like, something happened. His name was Aben Sir. He's like, last warning, show me your hands. And then it's a black, just a black box. And the next thing you see is a hole with the dude's uh badge beside it. And Hal's freaking out and he just says, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. So then it goes back, or then it takes him to a diner where he walks in and he gets a drink at the counter and they're watching the news and on the news there's this big Green Lantern, uh, giant Green Lantern like block basically looking thing that fell into a plant into a city, right? Which is the city of Evergreen. You find this out in the next couple pages because it talks about 5 days ago. So 5 days ago, Hal and you find out Hal and John Stewart and Joe and Guy all work together. And they're basically cops or some kind of security in this town of Evergreen. And Hal's a toy collector, or collectible dealer. Sorry, collectible dealer. He corrects her as well. Um, and he's gonna go and do some things. They notice this biker gang that comes through. They continue talking about stuff. Um, and all of a sudden, this one biker comes through and he slams into this green force field. And they're like, "What the hell was that?" And they run out and Hal touches the wall and he's like it's like a force field, like what the hell's going on? um and he's like there's nothing left of them, what's going on here? And they're just kind of trying to figure out what's going on. And Joe points, he goes, what the hell is that? And she points up and it's the big Green Lantern thing in the sky. And you see Aben Sur, who looks like Frieza, um like like a weird, yeah, kind of, yeah, he looks kind of like Frieza. Um, Cuts back to the diner, um, and you you find out um that Hal, his hand is basically like some kind of negative force. So basically that like Aben Sur has turned Hal Jordan into the Black Hand, right? So he is the Black Hand, and the lady behind the counter shoots him because she thinks it's a weapon. The Black Hand entity kills everyone in the diner. Um, it shoves the bullet out of him, and Joe shows up as the Green Lantern and is like, "What happened to you?" And she's like glowing green, like Green Lantern style. Um, so I'm interested to see where this is going to go. I'm probably going to give it at least one more issue. Um, Mostly because like I like um I obviously like Green Lantern stuff, but I'm interested to see a little bit more of the story. I kind of want to see what is going on, like how the Aben Sur thing played out, like what happened to John Stewart. Um, what they're gonna do with Joe. I think it's interesting that they chose Joe. I think it's cool that they did because she doesn't really get too much love in the regular DCU. Joe is the Far Sector Lantern, by the way, for those of you who don't know. She's the one with like the cool like triangle like disco-y glasses. Um, and I really I really liked it. It's just the art in certain moments felt like I just couldn't dig it, but then like because of how the Black Hand stuff worked out, it actually worked for the book a lot.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm giving this book like an 11 out of 12.
Okay.
Like it is it that little there's a couple frames where I'm like, man, the art I just can't, I don't like it right there, but for the most part it all worked together. It um really worked out. Jandy Lindsay, I believe is the artist.
Yes,
Um like I said, like the
it
the
is
art was,
very anime style. It's not
yeah,
manga style, which they,
like,
again, they're trying to integrate for the younger audience, and
yeah.
I totally understand that. It
Like
just
I said,
takes,
it's got that like Jinju Ito vibe though, like,
mm,
or Jinjitsu Kaisen vibe, right?
mhm,
Like that horror manga look, which is
yeah,
cool. And if this is gonna be like more of like a horror book because of the Black Hand stuff,
yeah,
then I think it's gonna work with it. So right now, that art's working with it. It's
yeah.
when they go to a different villain, when they go to something else, that's when I'm gonna be a little more concerned and see what they do with it.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I'm giving it 11 out of 12. I think it's very good.
It's kind of like the Ultimate X-Men with Peach Momoko. It's an
Yeah,
acquired taste.
yeah.
Uh, my book is one from last week. We did Our books were late in the mill, so I had limited options. Even though they did have, was it Lucky Devils were
hmm
number three. I
There
read
also
that,
really wasn't there also really wasn't a lot. Like I actually had to,
like
like, I was
scrounge
like,
and find.
man,
Yeah,
if I wouldn't have had the three that I did, it was
yeah,
gonna be Lucky Devils, Ultimate or Absolute Superman, the hell's this last book that I didn't finish? Oh, and All New Venom, just
yeah,
because of what, like the reveal in All New Venom.
yeah.
Which I
Uh,
actually was like kind of a little bit sad about, but I was also like, meh. But we can talk about that at the end. It's fine.
Universal Monsters, The Mummy. All the Universal Monster books have been really interesting. All different art styles. Um, but it's an interesting take on the folklore of these classic monster. We get introduced to Helen in Thebes. The year is 1912. Her and her family are big deals, archaeologists at dig sites. Her father is very rich, very British. Her mother is a local Egyptian. Um,
hmm
and of course, you know how that goes. It's tale as old as time of different beliefs and different cultures. And that's very prominent in this book. Um, we go forward into time, and it's 1921, where Helen, who's now 16, is talking to her friends. These are friends that work for her father, and they played around as little kids. But a lot of them don't consider themselves her friend. They're just kind of amusing her just so, their dad doesn't, fire them or fire their family, something like that. So they're just kind of there. And she even realizes that for the most part, most of them, that's what they do. There is one of them that she does kind of do have a strong attraction to. And they sneak into a dance club um, because she knows like one of the guys that works for her dad. And again, that gets brought up. It becomes an underlining theme in this. Um, the they get uh, Her father sends a bunch of assistants to go find her. They run away from the dance club and they're kind of running around town. And then they get near the dig site, the same dig site. Um, as while this is all going on, one of his assistants is cleaning, going through artifacts, finds a box which contains the scroll of Thoth, and he ends up reading it. And of course, this release does two things. One, Helen ends up passing out very dramatically in the desert. while she was with the young man who was her crush. Um, and the other was Bring the Mummy to Life, which you see here at the on the cover there. The art that you see on the cover there is the exact art that's the interior, which isn't too bad. It's hard to make the mummy look very distinctive. I like where they're going with this, where his face isn't covered, it is uncovered. I like that. Um, she ends up like doing one of those dazed and confused seeing the mummy in the desert and then just kind of repassing out again. She finds herself, her father and her mother find her. Well, her father finds her and takes her back home, yells at her for hanging out with the locals. And what did they do to her? And she said, they didn't do anything. I just passed out. Must have been the weather or something. She's like, but he didn't do anything. Nothing was done to me. The father doesn't believe him. The mother just kind of sits there in silence. Um, Basically she gets grounded. She's in her bedroom throwing things around, throws a brush at the mirror and the mirror cracks. And this is where we kind of find that there is another soul. I'm gonna say there's another soul within Helen that starts speaking to her through the mirror, and you see like the slight difference of this soul compared to her. Still a female, still like looks resembles her, just different outfit, different, slightly different facial feature. Um, and the soul's talking to her, going, "I've always been here, but someone read the sacred scroll, and now I can communicate with you." But I don't know who I am. Can you help me figure out who I am? And that's where the book ends. I thought this was kind of interesting, a very different take, a very deep insight into the mummy. So I'll give this a solid 10 out of 12. I'm knocking a couple just because the art isn't exactly spectacular. But I appreciate where it's going. The story is fascinating. So,
Awesome. All right, my second issue is Pop Kill #2. Um, by Jimmy Palmiotti and Dave Johnson. Um, and then Juan Santa Cruz is the artist. Um, so this this book of espionage in the soda pop world is crazy. Um, we left off with the kind of like almost James Bond guy having dinner with the girl who has the formula for the everlasting pop, the everlasting fizz for the pop, and her tiny little Frenchie. Um, and basically, like Akuza kind of guys come in, and yeah, they have a big fight. Um, so they set fire to the apartment. They barely get out of the apartment. Um, They get to the roof. They have a throwdown with another guy who apparently this spy guy, who's also named John, by the way, who John has slept with. Um, they have a sweet knife fight, which is also cool to see a knife fight in comic books. You don't see that a lot. Um, so they have a sweet knife fight. They get out by helicopter. They go over to John's apartment. It's also on fire. So they head to his cabin in the woods, which is actually like a lake house, like a really nice lake house. Um, so she makes him sleep on the couch while, she takes the bedroom. Um, and you find out that the reason that the one soda pop brother, because there's two brothers that run two different companies. The one soda pop brother hates John because he slept with his mistress, and you actually see him have to watch the mistress drowned in a vat of soda pop naked. Like they chain her up and throw her in this vat of soda pop, and he makes her watch her drown to death. It's crazy. Um, I'm just like, what the hell is going on in this book? It's so fucked up. Um, and so in the morning, the girl takes a cab in. Uh, John wakes up. He's like, "Oh shit, she's gone." He goes after her. And the uh, the two brothers are going to be at war some more, and that's kind of where it leaves off. They must have been Siamese twins because they each have a missing arm, and they're like off the arm that would have been the one conjoining. But one owns one called Fizz One, and the other one's Popsco, right? Popsco, I think. Um, anyway, this issue specifically was just a hell of a lot of action. Um, so it moved very quick. There really wasn't a lot more character development. But the first issue had a lot of character development. So this issue, um, I am not as excited about as the first issue. Although the art is fantastic. Um, and the story's kind of fun. It's definitely reminds me of like Jimmy's Bastards, just not quite as offensive. Um, or I should say not as raunchy, I guess. It's like a like it's just like more of a very awkward storytelling James Bond story.
Hmm.
Um,
You
so
said
I'm
that the
gonna
last time.
yeah, it is though. Like it's like the weirdest James Bond story you'd ever read. Um, um, oh, speaking of which, did you see the trailer for the Naked Gun reboot
No.
with Liam Neeson? Dude, he's playing Leslie Nielsen, or he's playing Leslie Nielsen's son, like in the like he's playing the junior. It's pretty funny.
No.
Anyway, you need to check
No.
it out. It's actually pretty
I don't
good.
wanna.
It
It
actually
sounds
was pretty
awful.
good. It was actually
Sounds.
pretty good. It was Derek Draven, yeah, Derek Draven, some Drebin, something Drebin. Anyway, um, uh,
Mm.
anyway, I'm giving this book a 9 out of 12. Because the art is just absolutely fantastic, and the story does go and moves. It's just I wanted a little bit more out of it, but it's still good enough to where I'm not sick of it yet. I was just hoping for a little bit more. I think if the next issue does not pick up a little bit more story into it, that's where it's going to make it or break it for me. So,
Mhm. All right, we got Ultimate Wolverine #3. This was the last week's one again. We were late with putting these out here, but I was waiting for this one. We get to meet this world's Natasha Romanoff, Gambit, and Kitty Pryde in this one. They're what's left of the Resistance. And of course, they're getting ready. They're trying to get everybody to escape and the whole 9 yards. Meanwhile, Wolverine and a couple of government lackeys. The government lackeys are kind of typical douchers, like type. One was even like, yeah, you have your extra clip just in case he goes wild, and they have anacontium bullets uh, just in case to put him down. Um, and they see these glowing chess pieces in a sewer tunnel. Um, so Wolverine takes one of the dude who was making the snide remark grabs him, throws him up to one of the chess pieces, and the chess piece, of course, gets brighter and brighter, and boom, the dude gets eviscerated. When that goes off, Gambit's like, "Oh, that's my alarm system." He's like, "We don't have much time. We better get this mission completed and get everybody out as soon as we can." Um, as soon as he says this, um, we see that Kitty and Gambit are a couple, which is kind of interesting. That's a coupling I didn't picture, but it's not the worst I've ever seen. Um, but
That how old is she in this
I
universe?
think it by the looks at it, she looks like she's like still relatively young. I
Okay.
want to say in her 20s.
Okay.
I don't think she's a teenager in this, if that's what you were going for.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Okay.
she's
That's
definitely,
kind of what I was looking for. Okay.
yeah,
We're
she's
good.
not teen Kitty. This is definitely like young woman Kitty, where she's still young, but she's got a little bit of experience. Um, Especially the way she kisses Remy, there, that was kind of, you know, he's definitely doing the thing with Rogue where they flirt a little bit, but instead of Rogue, it's her, which is kind of cute. Um, as they try to escape, here comes Wolverine, pretty much just decimating the defense. Um, but they they do get into a truck and move finally. Um, Wolverine does end up sticking his claws in and um, tailing them, pops open the back of the truck, and you see Kitty Pryde protecting a bunch of little kids to teenager mutants. Um, and she recognizes him as Logan. So this is the second X-Men from this universe to recognize Logan as part of their group from before. And she's like, "Don't you remember me? It's me, Kitty." And he's not there. His mind. Well, she does her thing where she reaches in and she messes with his head. Um, and it sparks something because he's dazed and he starts like shaking and he's trying to he's fighting it. As he's doing that, she kicks him out of the truck, and they escape. Um, and that's the end of the book. This was real good. It was a quick, easy read. The art is still fantastic. I really want to get this version of this Wolverine tattooed on me now. I love the costume. I love the face mask. I like that. Um, I can't wait to see what happens in the next issue. I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this 11 out of 12 just because it did seem very short. It was
Mm.
not a it was not a very long book. You could have added a little extra to it. I like the story where it's going, like him going after resistance. The art is beautiful. You're getting introduced to where all these other X-Men from this Ultimate Universe are. We're getting introduced to a bunch of them, so um, we'll see where this goes from here. But I do really love this Ultimate version of Wolverine and his story. So,
Cool. All right. My next book is Hyde Street 5, from the Ghost Machine guys. This one really follows Miss Goodbody, and why she ended up on Hyde Street. So it starts out where she is a personal trainer at like a gym. She's doing like a gym class, and she basically pushes this overweight lady named Trish to the point where she falls over and dies and like has a heart attack in the middle of like the class. Um, So you then it cuts to her already in Hyde Street. Mr. X-Ray comes in. Um, they kind of talk about he's like he's like he says something to her, and she talks about like how he did not kill her, or she's like, I didn't kill her, and she's like, Trish had a heart attack. Cuts back to the 80s where she was in the gym again, and the other gym guy's like, um uh you were shouting insults at her. You pushed her to the brink and you kept pushing. You're grateful that the cops didn't press charges. Clean out your locker and get out of here, like the gym manager. Um, and then like they show like her replacement, and she gets fired, and then she tries to like kill the other guy, like kill the gym manager. Um, and like the Trisha's sister comes in and basically says like, no, really, you made her hate herself, you did kill her. um and then she goes and like basically tortures herself by um going to buy a chocolate shop, and instead of actually eating the chocolate, she like wails her head into the glass and cracks the glass, and uh then gets served, um goes to a tarot reader instead, and the tarot reader is Sisterhood. Um, right? Sisterhood. Um, yeah, right. Um, and she ends up like that, and that's one of the other reasons that she ends up in Hyde Street. Um, and Then Pranky ends up showing up at her shop in Hyde Street. The next issue is going to be Cinema of Slaughter, which I'm pretty excited about. Um, I mean, I like this. This is probably one of the weaker issues of this book. It's still pretty solid, um, but I'm gonna give this one like a 7 out of 10 or 7 out of 12, just because it was a weaker one. It was a little slow. Um, it wasn't as engaging as some of the other ones. Um, and it wasn't as creepy, right? It wasn't as horror-y, which is kind of the point of that book, in my opinion. So, yeah, it was good, but it just wasn't. It didn't grab me as hard as I hoped it would. But maybe the next issue. But it's been solid so far, and I really, really like everything Ghost Machine's been putting out. So,
All right. We got Helvery number 5. This is the one where, everything's been kind of leading up to this point here. Dakin is taken into hell by Mephisto. Um, and Mephisto pretty much just kind of smacks Dakin around a little bit. He actually ends up pulling, I'm gonna have to pronounce this proper, Bag Ghoul out of Dakin, which is the demon that gives him his powers.
okay.
And then he kind of does the Hellraiser thing with Dakin, where he kind of has him hung up on a wall, and he has like the hooks in his cheek, and he's all in pieces and everything. It is very a homage to Hellraiser in this, which probably should, cool. Um, And Mephisto kind of reveals his whole plan of what he's doing and what his plans are, and basically saying that he wants to have demons or these have mutant kind possessed by some entity from hell that serves him, and then they can take over the world type thing, which, shocker. Um, and he offers Dakin to live. He slowly puts himself back together, um, and he starts attacking the demon by scratching him with his claws. Um, and Mephisto kind of laughs at him, saying, "No, that was cute. You thought you could harm an elemental demon with your petty little claws." And Dakin's like, it wasn't me trying to kill him or hurt him. It's me marking him. And you see this specific design on this demon. And again, we can thank Doctor Strange because apparently this is something he learned in the book that he got from Doctor Strange. And what he did was bind the demon to him and not Mephisto. So the demon now serves him. And they get back together. And he ends up like beating the piss out of Mephisto for a little bit. Till Mephisto tries to play mind games with him, just enough where um he kind of makes Dakin hesitate for a split second, and Mephisto kicks him out of hell. So it kind of ended in a draw. Uh, and then like the last few panels here is uh, the government needs Dakin's help, quote, recruiting him because they're like, you have to help us whether you like it or not, because this is something to do with Project Hellfire. And we see a demon possessed Red Hulk.
Ooh.
So should be interesting next issue, but this was definitely a 12 out of 12 for me. Uh, I'm really enjoying this Wolverine. I think I said this before. I love that they're giving Dakin some depth. Uh, I like Mephisto being involved in here this a little bit. Him learning magic as well as him being a fighter. Uh, I'm it the story is solid, the art is solid, like it's fantastic, the art. Like I love this cover right here. This is
Hmm.
beautiful cover. Um, so it's a 12 out of 12 for me on this.
Nice. All right. I'm gonna throw an honorable mention to the reprint of G.I. Joe 21, the silent issue, which I was like, sweet, now I don't have to pull out my old one if I ever want to flip through it again.
Mhm.
It's a great issue. And then let's talk. Okay, so we're gonna talk about two. We're talking about Daredevil, of course. We're also gonna talk about all new Venom #5 because we're gonna talk a little bit about spoilers. So if you haven't read this book and you are reading it, don't listen. Or if you don't care and uh you want to know who the new Venom is and you just don't really care,
Yeah.
um you're
Like,
more than welcome
although
to
I have
read.
seen quite
Listen.
a few other YouTube channels already uh upset is the
Uh
best word I
okay.
could put it down.
Yeah, we'll say they're upset.
Yeah.
Um I wouldn't say that
Shocker.
I'm upset about it. I would say that I'm a little disappointed in it. Um, so spoilers, get the hell out. If you're not gonna hang, get out.
Yeah.
Um, so spoilers, the new Venom is Mary Jane. So, and how this whole thing happened, like the whole book, this whole issue is Robbie talking about how it was a whole red herring. He literally says it was a red herring in the book. Um, as because Mary Jane was also in the courtroom when it all happened, and the symbiote went to Mary Jane, and she's been the Venom, the new Venom since then. So the thing that the two things that I don't like about this, one is I don't like that the Venom symbiote looks male, like it looks big bulky male. with her tiny little frame in there. Um, because it just makes me think that like I just have this like weird like how does her arms like reach out into the actual arms like or is she like this in there? Like how does it function, right? Because Eddie Brock, his arms are out.
Yeah,
Those are actually his arms, right?
yeah.
Like, but like with Mary Jane, like she can't, like she's not that, right? So that's a little bit weird to me. It's not that like I think that she should look like She Venom, which would be fine too.
Yeah.
Um, because we've done that,
But
right? We
then
have that.
you know what would happen then? People would be like, "Oh, you're just trying to make her look be all sexy and stuff," which again, it's Mary
Sure.
Jane.
Sure.
She's gonna be sexy no matter what.
Jackpot Venom. But what happened what about her jackpot stuff? Like does her jackpot powers not work with the Venom suit? Like how
Yeah.
does that work?
See,
Like I want to know that.
this is why I don't
Um
read Spider-Man based
and
characters
this
because
yeah.
I just hands off. I'm just like, yeah,
So
people rip on the Wolverine stuff. I was like, yeah, but Wolverine is consistent. There's
yeah.
not a
Okay.
lot of change going on
So
there.
here's my other thing. So my other part of this is this is the same bullshit they did uh with Jane Foster when she became Thor. It was red herring, new Thor, but at least there you could definitely tell it was going to be a female, right?
Yeah.
So
And at least
this
Jane
was
Foster was involved in Venom or in Thor throughout history. Like
right,
she was part of Thor's mythos, you
right. It made
know?
way more sense
Yeah.
for her to become Thor
Yeah.
than Mary Jane to become Venom. Like
Yeah.
what the fuck? Um, like it, I. I mean, it didn't really make sense for any of the other guys to be Venom either. Though I was really hoping for Luke Cage because that would have been cool. Um, but it to me, it just felt out. It didn't feel. It feels out of place for her to be Venom. Like it just doesn't feel like it should be. It doesn't feel right. Right. It doesn't feel like not like I said. Like the outside of the whole. I'm gonna be piloting this thing and like I'm gonna be just like this
It's
piloting
a
it like
myth.
a yeah
He's a myth.
like she's fucking like she's totally like the Bruce Banner mech Hulk, right? Um,
Oh,
yeah, right there. I've
oh,
ruined it for you.
oh.
Yes,
Well,
yes,
I wasn't gonna
but
read it anyway, but oh yeah, that
yeah, there
turned out
you
to be a
go.
disaster.
But uh,
Right.
and like who the hell's writing this book? Al Ewing. Al Ewing's writing the book. Um,
He should know better.
but the fact that you're right, like she doesn't, it doesn't make sense. I mean, yeah, she's part of the Spider-Man continuity, right?
Yeah.
But she's jackpot now. Like she actually has her own jackpot powers. She was
Mm.
doing a really good book with Black Cat. Why do you then go up? We're gonna take her out of this book and just make her Venom. Like what? What? What?
Oh,
like
wow.
like it just it
Wow.
just it just blows my mind. I'm just like, what? Where in the thought process at Marvel in the bullpen did this come from? And they went, yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Well, I know
Yeah.
what in the uh Gwen verse, she ends up being is she Carnage? She turns into Carnage.
Yeah.
So it's not like out of the realm that she's never been involved in that kind of thing, but that is alternative multiverse stuff.
Hmm.
And that's this. This is 616, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So this makes no sense whatsoever, and it probably shouldn't have even been done. But I haven't followed Venom since the Donny Cates run. I have no idea what's happened since then. I know
Yeah.
what Eddie Brock turned into a bad guy or some crap like that, or something like that. I don't know the specifics of the last run per
Sort
se.
of. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I know his kid had Venom for a little while, and then he's like, no.
Yeah.
So it's like, so who's gonna have it now? I get it. And we like Venom's personality in
Well,
general.
Eddie Brock's Carnage now. So, yeah.
Why? Okay, that makes it even less sense to me.
Well, I mean, that makes more sense than Mary Jane being Venom. But
Yeah, but again, you're talking to somebody who my most of my Spider-Man mythos was from the 90s,
Mhm.
where Venom hates Carnage, Carnage hates Venom,
Right.
and that's been like what, decades back and forth.
Right.
And now we're supposed to be, no, it's okay now. Carnage can be with anybody. Yay! Or Venom can be with anybody. Yay! No, then that's not what made Venom and Carnage special. It's also the beings that they were attached to. And you can't,
Yeah.
it's one thing if Eddie Brock's dead and he's not coming back to comics anymore. And then you give him to somebody else. If you're going to do that, give it back to Flash Thompson, who was honestly my favorite Venom.
Me too.
And I think there was a lot of people that thought that was pretty cool, like especially his outfit, him being like with the guns and he had little missile launchers and shit on him and stuff. And that was cool. That was different. And I like that.
Hmm.
But when you're doing it something like this, where it's what you're, yay, instead of white, you're gold.
Yeah.
Okay. I I'm okay with that. Um, but if you're going to do like you said, symbiote the entire person, don't make them look like a big bulky dude when you're a female.
Well, I mean, it's, or at least make it proportional to the
Yeah,
person, right?
yeah.
Like that's more my problem. It's
She could
it's the
look like
proportion.
China, and I like have a
Yeah,
China build. I'd be
like
like, okay, that I get
like it
that.
like or uh like fucking Peter Dinklage, like being real muscular but tiny,
Yeah,
but you can't have a tiny framed woman and then be this giant fucking muscular dude over top, because then it's like you're just making a Hulk at that point,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like that doesn't work right for hands and feet. Like that's the part that bothers me, is the proportional stuff. Because like
yeah.
right now, because Black Widow has a symbiote,
Yeah.
and it's just like
And
she
it
Venom
looks
style,
yeah,
and it
and she
looks
looks
badass. It's
badass.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I was looking at that when I was doing strip, and I'm like, see, that's a Venom I could get down with. That looks
Hmm.
cool. That matches her style and her colors, and
Yep.
even has like little Black Widow symbols and stuff. Why couldn't you have done that with this?
Right.
And I feel like that's what a lot of the true Venom guys, Spidey guy, fan guys are upset about is this makes no sense whatsoever. Um, I'm sure
I'm
some of
actually
it
like,
is a little bit about they don't want Mary Jane to be involved in this, or they don't
I'm
want a
less
woman to be Venom.
I'm
It's
less mad that it's Mary Jane, and I'm more mad about the proportional
hmm,
stuff. Like I just think that's lazy,
yeah,
right? Like that, to me, that's lazy. It's like, oh, I just don't want to not draw Venom to look like Venom. Like that, like that to me just is lazy drawing. Like it's lazy
yeah.
art, right?
It's
Like
Rob Liefeld art.
to me, to me, that's lazy. Hold on, let me see who the artist is. Who did I just whoever Gomez is. I just shit on him. I'm sorry. Anyway, all right. Enough talking uh about
From one
Mary Jane Venom
from
to
watching one bitch session to the next, because boy, this was disappointing to me about Daredevil.
so this might be the
Worst episode?
most, I was gonna say, like, I don't say the worst episode, but like at least the slowest episode, like the most boring episode, I
Hmm.
think. because it
definitely.
was like because the only real action there was like action for what maybe 5 minutes
Yeah,
where Muse is trying to kill her and she kills Muse, and that's it.
yeah,
Everything else is a lot of talk
yeah,
and it's a lot of boring and a lot of
mhm,
talk and it's a lot of boring.
yeah.
And
Well, we didn't do the last episode because you only watched half of it.
oh yeah, sorry.
So let's start from there and we'll complete the story after. Since this last one was so boring and anticlimactic, let's get to the last one where you actually got to see Daredevil back in the suit,
Yeah.
kicking ass,
Hmm.
um, saving what is her last name? The
Well, it's White
girl
Tiger's girlfriend or White Tiger's niece,
niece. Yeah, I forget what her last
who
name.
will
I don't want.
become White Tiger eventually.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. I'm just trying to. I want to. I don't want to be that person of choosing a last name that's very typical of,
I
I
can't.
I can't recall her.
I just can't. I just remember that she becomes White Tiger at some point in the
Yeah,
comics.
I can't
So,
remember her last name. But he rescues her,
mhm.
beats the living crap out of Muse, which we were all waiting for that.
Yep.
Um, and it probably would have been better off if he just ended it right there, compared to what we know now in the latest episode. But I thought it was good. Um, we were waiting for it, the build. Um, and then fast forward here to the current episode and uh disappointment. But it does set up for the rest of the series. Well, the rest of this season, I should say, and for where series two is probably going to leave off from. So we'll just say this was that episode that they were ready for the future, like the future part of the storyline, the more Kingpin heavy part of
Yeah.
where it's going to be Kingpin is the main bad guy. Muse was just a detour, uh,
Yeah.
which is a shame because I think the
Well,
Muse is a pretty
well,
cool villain.
I think the Muse storyline they're using this storyline so like there's the part where Heather kills Muse, right? And then
Yes.
Heather's just freaking out in the hospital about, oh my God, I killed somebody, right?
Yeah.
So in the in the comics, Heather kills herself because of grief.
Hmm.
Um, so I think this is the catalyst for that her MCU character to do that. I think we're gonna see her do that, and this is why. I think she's gonna be so guilty for what she did because he was a patient and
Hmm.
then she realized he was Muse, which also I think like in the comics, like I don't think we ever actually knew who Muse was. Um,
No, you never got
like
the identity.
yeah. So
So
so I think that's where the twist really is for this newer stuff. Um, so I think we're gonna see I think that's where we're gonna see that, and I think that's like so I think Muse is going to or the Muse's death is going to cause Heather to die and that whole thing because we're gonna find out like and Kingpin's gonna do something to push Heather to that point and that's gonna be the catalyst for Daredevil to go full bore back and be back for season two. And
hmm.
that's I think how that's gonna work. I think this whole thing was just the build up of that and I think this whole season was basically um, a trip down how Catholic guilt works.
Yeah.
And as you know, recovering Catholics ourselves, like we are totally in it because
Yeah.
this is why we love this show so much because we're like, yep, this is everything we were taught to understand. Like,
Yeah. You want you want to talk about indoctrination.
Yeah.
This is something that we were instilled with as children.
Hmm.
Um, which, yes, you want empathy. You want be taught that,
Yeah.
you are supposed to feel bad when something like this happens. Um, but there's a point of crossing a line beyond empathy. And we definitely tend to go beyond that sometimes. Some of us are able to reel it
Yeah.
back in, some are not. Um, Again, that is for those who cannot, that's what these hotlines are for, these suicide hotlines. So please, we have local chapters in the area, so take advantage of that.
Yeah. If you
Um,
need help, call 966. Please do that. Get some help. Do not. No one should ever um get to the point where they take their own life. Your your life means more to us than than you know. So
yes,
please, um, I think it's 966 or 988. It's one of the.
yeah,
Let me double check.
like
Pretty sure it's
uh,
966 though.
Like we saw it in Pi, we saw all these people, all
988.
this,
Sorry, 988.
all the
Call 988.
all the creatives and all these little kids getting excited for art and comic books and stuff like that is, and I even told you it's like that's what I wanted to see is what we were talking about when we were talking about the show, and this little kid wanted art. And I think there was a girl that just started college and she was getting into the arts. She just got into Carlo, I think her dad was saying.
Mhm.
Um, and you see the joy and the hope and the positivity uh, that comic books and pop culture and just art bring to a person. Um, so,
Mhm.
um, but back on track to Daredevil. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to see where this goes. I hope she doesn't like kill herself. Maybe they'll do like messy breakup or something, or she leaves like New York or something along that line. Because I think that I hope they don't go that route of suicide.
Um, I think they will, and I think we're gonna see Karen Page come back. Um, but I think we're gonna see her come back with a kid, and then we're gonna see the Guardian Devil storyline for the second season, mixed with Kingpin being mayor,
Yeah.
which
Well,
would be
he's
great. I
yeah.
would love that.
Yeah. Well, this is still going to be a lot of Devil Rain as well.
Yeah.
So they're taking the best parts of these storylines and definitely putting it on the screen. Uh, it's still a good show. It's just this last episode of after having that back to back, both being very good,
Hmm.
each in their own way. This was kind of a letdown. Um,
Yeah.
but I see where they're going with it. Oh, hello, sir. My little daredevil right here. Um, but yeah, um, that's all I gotta say
And
about that.
we have two more episodes left. So we'll see how it goes. But
Okay,
there we go.
okay. Yeah,
All
he's like,
right. Well,
he said,
I think
can't
that
make the
wraps it
show
up for this
without
week.
me.
All
Yeah,
right,
there we go.
well, I think that wraps it up, guys.
We'll end the show with this cuteness, this big ball of
There you go.
cuteness. Yeah.
That's much better. So,
Oh
all right,
yeah.
guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. We will catch everybody next week. And yeah, we will see everybody